Greetings, fellow scholars of the Lifestream. I'm Vyzzuvazzadth from the Cosmo Canyon Observatory, and in today's episode of the...
Whoa! What are you doing, Vyzz?
This
is our show.
I'm introducing
You're
ourselves.
here to be interviewed by us. We do the introduction.
That's right, peeps.
That's how it works, I see. Alright, carry on.
We're really honored to have you here, Vyzz, but yeah, this is kind of our thing.
Alright, I step back. You have the spotlight.
Our glorious Overlord. Our master of all. By the way, Vyzz, how would you like us to address you? Sir? Lord? Daddy?
Master. No, just Vyzz is fine.
Okay, that would have made the interview a lot more
Cumbersome?
interesting, I guess. Cumbersome is a good word.
Cumbersome.
Okay, cumbersome. Yeah, y'all got that. Okay, so anyway, Master, how about we get this interview started?
Oh, it's so professional.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the mission statement of the Pulse of the Lifestream?
Do we have a
100%.
Do we have a mission statement?
I don't think we do.
We should have one.
We should.
Yes, you should.
How about you make one up on the spot, Vyzz? It is, you are our master and overlord, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I thought this is your
What's our
interview
mission statement?
and your spotlight.
Ah, man.
That's our first question for you. What's our mission statement?
Oh man, the rules keep changing, don't they? All right, so
There are no
mission
rules.
statement: bring us glory.
Nice.
I like that.
Yeah.
For something.
I mean, no pressure or anything.
Yeah. No pressure at all.
Okay, so question one out of the way, hitting with the hard
Bring
stuff
it.
first. But now let's get into some real stuff. We hit hard and heavy with the mission statement, but let's go ahead and get started with some actual stuff. We talked about Pulse Livestream. Now let's talk about Vyzz. Tell me more about Vyzz. What's Vyzz's origin?
It's a mysterious background indeed. And it all started with some RPG Maker game I wanted to create some, millennia ago. And I was searching for characters, and then I thought about, such a mysterious, cool character that doesn't look like anything anyone has ever seen before, and that's really mysterious and has telepathic abilities and whatnot. And by that time, I have been playing Kingdom Hearts a lot, and you might see the resemblance to one of the little Heartless, the first ones you see, the little ones. And that's where I got the idea from, and then it went from there. And in the end, it turned into a strange creature made of a certain blue-purple biomass birthed by a really big life tree from a flower that opens up, and a ball of this biomass falls out, starts rolling around, absorbing whatever comes into its way, some bunch of grass, a little bit of insects, maybe a lizard or something. And in the end, it metamorphoses, or however you want to pronounce this, into what you see now. That's the short version.
So I will say, whenever I saw Vyzz, design, I always imagined Vyzz was kaiju size, size of buildings and massive, Godzilla style.
I think everybody does. So, everybody thinks Vyzz is massive, but he's
1 meter 23.
He's pocket-sized.
Small but nimble and fast.
You could pick him up and carry him around.
And he's extremely fast in water, especially. Yeah,
that makes sense. The tail,
but he needs water and moisture to live. In the desert, he'll just dry out eventually.
So we're not going to fight him with ruby
and
weapon.
Fire is also no good. But water is perfect, absorbs everything.
Useful information. Thank you.
So now we have to write up an Assess Materia analysis. Vyzz.
Okay, well.
We'll get Rima right on it.
Let's not give her more work.
True.
Right, moving on. So you've been releasing YouTube videos for quite some time now.
Yes.
And you started off with Guitar Hero, and then you moved on to Let's Plays, starting with Final Fantasy XV. Then in October of 2017, you started a new series of Game Talk, and that seems to have been the real starting point of your Final Fantasy VII analysis videos. Before we talk about Final Fantasy VII in a little bit more depth, can you tell us what originally got you into content creation?
As you already mentioned, it started all with Guitar Hero. I once joined this lovely community back then when I was still playing Guitar Hero 3 all day and all night almost. At least it felt that way. And at some point I just wanted to share my plays, my skills, my playthroughs of certain songs, and I just started up a YouTube channel and uploaded a few things with my crappy digital camera before I eventually bought a capture card or capture device. And yeah, that was pretty much the start. It wasn't really something big or huge Overlord plans. But no, it's just starting small, and then I kept going, and then started doing or creating custom songs when Guitar Hero 4 and especially 5 started taking off with this really user-friendly creator studio. And it was really fun. Mostly created Final Fantasy related covers and medleys, and people liked them, so I just kept doing them. But at some point I just wanted to do other things as well, and then I drifted away from it, let the channel kind of sit for a while. And then I thought, what should I do right now? What's my purpose? What should I try? And then I thought, well, I like watching Let's Plays. Let's just try it myself. And yeah, I tried. Not many views. I pulled through with Final Fantasy 15. I tried to alternate between 15 and World of Final Fantasy, but jumping back and forth was more detrimental, and I kept forgetting about how to fight battles, especially in 15, so I stopped World of Final Fantasy and kept focusing on 15. But eventually during endgame or post-game stuff, I just didn't feel it anymore and stopped for a while. And then Final Fantasy VII Remake stuff started, and for quite a while I just indulged myself in indulged in content of others and discussions, and read forums online what others thought. But I never ever found a satisfying work by somebody about how the individual episodes or individual games could be split up to tell the story coherently and tell the story in a good way. So I just kept thinking about it, and eventually just thought, well, I already have a YouTube channel, why not do my own video? And then I tried, and yeah, that's where it all started. And then I also saw others, especially on the Lifestream.net, where others also created some analysis posts and analysis entries. And I thought, well, I already like to kind of take apart all the trailers and stuff, because I really try to take apart everything, and I have found a few other things. Why not start doing analysis videos? And then I did that, and now we're here.
So I have a couple follow-up questions. First, do you still play Guitar Hero today?
Not anymore, no time, unfortunately. No. I tried getting into Guitar Hero Live, which it has a different controller with 6 buttons, which also should 6 buttons, 3 above and 3 below, which should which simulates chords. But I never really got the latency to work properly. It wasn't really fun to play, so I stopped this as well. And since then, no more. Yep.
Okay. Other follow-up, you said you dropped World of Final Fantasy. Did you actually beat it?
I also had to stop playing eventually because it was too much micromanagement and leveling up all the... how are the little ones called? Just the ones...
The Mirages.
Yeah, the Mirages, right. The Mirages, the Pokemons of Final Fantasy. It was just too much work, and eventually I just couldn't deal with it anymore and just stopped. And then just watched Final Fantasy Peasant play the rest of it to at least get the story to completion.
That's about where I am at the moment with World of Final Fantasy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's...
I loved that game so much. I had to get the platinum, which I kind of cheated because there are a couple trophies that there are like mini games near the end, and I was terrible at them.
Yeah.
So I had to have one of my roommates play.
Fine.
so he got the mini game trophies for me. So thank you, roommate.
It's a very cute game, and I've enjoyed it far more than I would have expected.
Same here, because I'm usually not really into the chibi art style. It's not really my thing. But giant versions looked actually pretty cute, and I thought, well, that's fine for me. I just start playing, and it was really good. But as I said, all this micromanagement of and leveling up and grinding for the Mirages was just too much.
I get that.
Definitely valid.
Yeah.
I will say too, though, for being like such a like cutesy game, like the story gets really intense.
It does get dark at times,
dark.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
really
So
surprised at how dark it was. And then I finished it, or I sort of finished it. and I was just stunned. And I thought that can't be it.
I definitely cried.
It can't do that to me. I'm so invested. Yeah.
So if you have not played World of Final Fantasy, definitely give it a shot. Even if you don't think that necessarily like the art styles for you, like they make up for it with. I think the combat pretty
is
fun.
good, yeah.
And the story is actually not just happy-go-lucky all the time. So although you do have to deal with
I was
the
about to
puns,
say.
which
Terrible.
The humor and the puns.
I loved them.
The dialogue is not the best.
It's fun nonetheless.
I loved it, but I'm super biased about that. So I think my only legit complaint about the game was that there is no Aerith. And,
Fair point.
That's it.
Fair point.
She is mentioned, so that's cool. But come on, Chibi Aerith would have been like the cutest thing in the world.
I got the DLC for it, and I still don't have Sephiroth. I'm so upset.
Huh.
What? Oh, was he a
I have
pre-order
no
bonus?
idea.
Could be, I don't remember.
Do you feel that with the announcement of Final Fantasy VII Remake then, that you really found your YouTube niche?
I think I did. First of all, I found something that I could just carry on for quite some time, not get tired of it, and not feel like I'm not made for this. So at least this feels good. And the niche, yeah, because all the replies and comments I got and other people I talked with, the main sentiment is that I kind of fill this hole the fan base still has with the actual detailed and minutiae, or however you want to call this, of all the details that many people either don't talk about, don't really understand, or gloss over, or whatever. Just all the details that many people also miss. So this has been really positively received, and this has kept me going.
You do have the right sort of analytical mind for that kind of thing. The details that you pick up on just never fail to amaze me.
But what's interesting is I never felt I used this analytical skill in my life, really, or at least not to that extent. Maybe I just found out something about myself in 2017.
You discovered a new talent.
So when you were doing your Let's Plays of like 15 and World of Final Fantasy, you weren't like analyzing everything in the background?
I probably kind of did, but I wasn't really in analysis mode, I suppose. I need to check because I sometimes forget my own things. I don't really remember much.
Well, to be fair, you've done a lot, because I went and looked back over your videos last night, and there's an incredible amount. And I'm actually going to start watching your Final Fantasy 15 ones, because I haven't watched those.
Oh, those are so terrible. So
well,
good luck pushing through.
They'll get me through a work day, I'm sure.
Maybe, yeah, probably. It's easy to just run them on the side and not really paying much attention.
Yeah.
So then, when you have a ton of stuff on your channel, and you started a long time ago. When you first started, did you ever actually imagine that you'd establish a community like the Cosmo Canyon Observatory Discord server, or the following that you've built up on Twitter?
Not really, at least not at first, because I just wanted to fill my own void I had for in terms of Final Fantasy VII Remake and the open questions and stuff, and content that was missing on YouTube or on other forums. But at some point when Speed was taking up, which started in May 9th, or on May 9th, 2019, when the State of Play trailer dropped, and they really started gearing up for this, for marketing, I thought, well, if I go somewhere with this, if I keep doing this, Vyzzuvazzadth is not really easy to find and spell and recommend, so I needed a brand change of sorts. And then I thought, well, if I do a brand change, why not also expand a little with social media stuff, Discord or however. And I kind of slipped into it, and then it just started growing and sometimes a little bit exploding in my relative terms, at least.
I definitely remember your brand change because I was obsessed with your videos when they were coming out at the beginning, and I mean I still am, but so like I would watch them with my roommate. Well, I would watch them and my roommates would all make fun of me with how much I watched them. And then I would always be like, oh my gosh, the crazy V name guy made a new video. And I could never remember how to spell it. So I had to always like, because I'd want to read.
Yeah. Just a V guy. It's okay.
Yep. And then you're the Cosmo Canyon Observatory. Yeah. And I was like, oh, thank God I can say
CCO.
And now I feel like I've got it down. Vyzzuvazzadth.
Vyzzuvazzadth. Yeah.
I feel like I've got it.
We practiced it a lot for the community event.
What's interesting is I usually pronounce it Vyzzuvazzadth, a more American A, but that's only because it kind of feels more natural to say in my pseudo-American accent. But it's actually Vyzzuvazzadth. Or in German, or Swiss German, Vyzzuvazzadth. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds nice.
So just to kind of build a bridge between the different accents and languages, I think this is the easiest one. But if you're using it, if you're pronouncing with the ah sound, it's actually more correct.
I'm just going to stick with my Scottish pronunciation
Yes.
of it, Vyzzuvazzadth.
You do that.
Yeah.
You have permission.
I do think that leads really well into the next question that we have about how has the community support and following you have influenced you in your content creation, which, I mean, if you're putting on a fake American accent, like that seems to be pretty good, pretty strong influence, at least in that regard.
Yeah, probably. It's probably also easier to pick up than English accent, or even Scottish or Irish, if you're not confronted with it in any way. I'm usually confronted with American accents in the media I consume, so it's easier for me. That's just the truth, the blatant, naked truth. I kind of would have preferred to slip into British English, because I personally like it much better. But, yeah. Or Scottish even. I like Scottish.
Thank you. I always knew you were my favourite.
Yes. So yeah, connecting to my previous answer, it's actually what kept me going, like the community that started building around this whole brand and name change. It's what keeps me going up to today, because people want the content, people like the content, people give good feedback if there is feedback to give, and I'm trying to constantly evolve and better myself and try to find the ideal format of how to present and create the content. So, and this is just like interchanging, or I get this connection I have with every single one of you that keeps pushing back and forth, and I really don't I have no idea how to express myself right now.
I think it's really, really good that you are so interactive with the community, because I've been in a couple of Discord servers for other content creators, and you basically never see them. It's a fan community, whereas
I see. Yeah, that's a pity.
There are a lot of fans, obviously, particularly within the Discord server. You're a part of the community. You're what makes it so welcoming and so warm, and you engage with people, and I think that's really, really important, and it's really, really valuable to the community.
It definitely is. Yeah, it also helps me to grow myself, to keep growing personally, professionally even. It's also I'm usually the introvert and mostly shy, so I don't really get too much interaction outside, even pre-COVID. Not just the kind of guy I just like to sit at home and do my stuff, my creations. And this is an easy way to talk with people who are on the same page as me, usually, like with the same interests, especially Final Fantasy VII Remake, of course, but other games and other stuff as well. It's so easy to interact, to also talk, not just write, but also talk like we are doing right now. It's really valuable and so easy, and it's a comfortable spot where I can just relax, and it's the perfect escapism combined with social interactions and exchange of ideas, and just growing ourselves into different directions, like a tree where Vyzz's are being birthed from.
So are we going to get more Vyzzes in the future then?
Who knows?
For growing trees?
Vyzz cosplay as soon as it's possible.
Please. Oh my gosh, that would be great. I'm still waiting on that Vyzz plushie.
Yeah.
I really want that.
It's still in the works, but materials and stuff, it's not easy to get and produce.
Yeah. Well, you heard it here first. It's in the works.
I think it's fair to say that you have really become integral to the Final Fantasy VII content creation community. There are a lot of others out there. So which channels, which creators do you personally find inspiring? Any non-Final Fantasy VII ones you'd like to give a shout out to?
All right, so for inspiring, before I even start my own channel, I used to continuously watch Final Fantasy Peasant, because I just find him hilarious, and he brings a lot of good informations and theories to the table, even if most of it turns out wrong sometimes, mostly because he just overthinks it. Wink, wink, Final Fantasy 15 got cut, everything, wink, wink. Was really good. Like, his theories were usually better than what we got, if you want to be a little bit facetious. So I think this was kind of my pathway into the YouTube community of Final Fantasy VII Remake, if you want to call it like that. But also Maximilian, due with his Final Fantasy VII and Remake content, is really valuable to me, because he, as you said before, for me, I'm not really in the community there, but I receive him as someone who loves to interact with the community. It's really welcoming, even if he is sometimes comes off as not really rude, but like he just says it as it is, but in a way that it's really lovable and likable. That's a really great mixture that I personally really like, and it's so good to see him have fun with the games or with the reveals, and almost cry over his tale that the creators of Final Fantasy VII Remake actually used his reveal reaction video to keep motivating himself, and it's such a great dynamic between the fans, himself, and the creators.
He's not a guy who's afraid of us showing his emotions, and that is good to see.
Oh, for sure, for sure. All emotions. Yeah. And he is not afraid to bash third servers. Definitely. And who I also really value is Final Fantasy Union, mostly for their in-depth videos about origins of mostly characters and evolutions of summons and magic or other or job classes even, which is really different side of the Final Fantasy community's content that others do, which is what I usually like, when different content creators actually have their own niche, have their own focus, which you won't find anywhere else. Which leads me to Sleepy C, who also like myself was kind of a latecomer, even later than I started, and got much more views and reception than I did because of his invaluable research and connections between the compilation and the remake. It's really, really good content, and I sometimes based parts of my theories onto his findings. So especially in the Whispers video, I referenced him like 5 times or something. So it's really an honor to have him in the fandom as well. And then when it comes to Japanese stuff, maybe some of you already know, I tried to learn Japanese for around 5 years in the past, but this has been like over 10 years ago. So I know a little bit of Japanese, but I'm really rusty and I don't really have time to get back into it, which is a shame. I'd really love to speak and understand fluently Japanese, which is where Game Gango comes in. And whenever I have time, I try to watch his videos and kind of keep up with listening to Japanese and learn a few new words or relearn a few new words. And it's also very interesting and very good to see what the creators actually intended in certain scenes, because the localization can sometimes be misleading or downright wrong. Mostly it's good, but sometimes it's just, why did you just leave out those details? They're so integral to understand some facets of the characters that you usually won't get or see, or connections to earlier games and stuff. There's so much nuance lost, and it's really good that he does that, and others as well. I think there are other people who sometimes translate, but he's the one that just does it all the way, and he's not even done with the game yet. And then on another side, which is more into niche of storytelling and character development and stuff, is Resonant Arc, formerly Dark Pixel. Their podcasts and other analysis videos are also invaluable, at least to me, to understand certain story aspects and character aspects, and sometimes even the history of how a game was made and what the creators intended, because there's so much stuff on the internet, so many interviews from original games, from remakes, from remasters, and they sometimes, especially Mike, is such a good researcher in that regard that he collects all those interviews and makes something really big out of it and conveys the message that the creators intended, so that we get much more nuanced understanding of what is actually behind those stories and behind certain characters, and what was the intention of Final Fantasy to begin with, and what was Hironobu Sakaguchi's vision, and why did Final Fantasy change after he left, and so on and so forth. It's really, really good content, and also very in-depth, just completely different than what I do. But it really extends really well. And that's about it for Final Fantasy channels. Of course, there are also mostly news channels like our usual suspects, Night Sky Prince and Soldier First Class, which I also tended to watch a lot until they started fading off a little bit, which are also very important. But at some point, personally, I just don't have any need for watching news channels anymore. And yeah.
Hey, no. Yeah, you realize this
you're
is
different.
A news channel, don't you?
Not the channel is not a news channel. It's
a news show.
Yeah, a news show, which complements what I do. Anyway, with painting myself into the wall out of the way, I wanted to lead into non-FF channels, which I also like to shout out. And one of those who I regularly used to watch is Young Yeah, which focused on news mainly, and also sometimes on deep analysis of trailers, especially Kojima games, like Metal Gear Solid 5. I think he started mostly breaking through, and then how's the new one called again?
Oh, Death Stranding?
Yeah, exactly, Death Stranding. He also picked apart trailers kind of the same way I do, like really going into all the details, zooming in, reading all the text, and pulling references from other things and what have you. Really liked the stuff. But then he kind of drifted into news. I really liked it for the most part, but I don't know, just for like a year or so, or since a year, I'm just not really that too much into news, and sometimes it's just repeated news, just in another cloak, in another outfit, but it's basically the same. So I just focus on other content, mostly podcasts, and one of those is the Sacred Symbols podcast from Lifestream Media. They started off as 2 people, now they're mostly 3. Their editor usually joins as well, and they're really good in terms of quality and also content, and really good research. They all have really broad knowledge about games. One of them was like 10 or 12 years on IGN, and also on the Kind of Funny podcast, I think, or Kind of Funny Games. And they really have a long history with games, at least the leader of them. Others and the others are sometimes more into Xbox as well. So we also have other nuances, not just PlayStation guys and PlayStation fanboys. So it's really we see both sides and other sides as well. Not so much Nintendo. It is a PlayStation podcast, but they sometimes also bring some other like takes into the mix, and it's really interesting and also entertaining, and sometimes 2 to 3 hours long. So if you like the reunion podcast and like PlayStation, you might want to check this one out as well. And then there are also some other few ones I like to shout out. I also really like Liana Kay's content. She's really avid gamer, knows her stuff, also within the industry, and has broad knowledge about different topics, and also sometimes a little bit of the political side of gaming and gaming journalism, and is really trying to be fair to all sides, and her input is really valuable to certain issues. And I don't watch Let's Plays as much anymore, and if I do, it's mostly Final Fantasy stuff. But in the past, I tended to watch a lot of Markiplier and Jacksepticeye. Jacksepticeye much more in the recent past, because he tends to also play AAA games, like, let's say, The Last of Us, or what was a recent one I watched? I don't remember. Just more also AAA games, while Markiplier focuses more on the indie games. And I'm not too much into indie games, unfortunately. And last but not least, Critical Role, for those who know what that is. It's a D&D show, a campaign created by Matt Mercer, which most of you probably also know as the voice of Corleonis for Final Fantasy XV, or the voice of someone I forgot the name of in Overwatch, and others. And many people think he's the voice of Sonon in the upcoming Yuffie DLC.
I was just going to say that.
Yep. And his pack of friends, also all voice actors. Some of you also know, like Laura Bailey, who played the VO of Abby in The Last of Us 2, and Sarah in the Final Fantasy XIII trilogy. There's Ellie herself, Ashley Johnson, and some others you might or might not know. Oh, Liam O'Brien, who voiced Caius in Final Fantasy XIII 2 and Lightning Returns. And Sam Riegel, I haven't known before, but his humor is just over the top and fun. If you want to watch the show and love D&D, just watch it for his sake. He's hilarious. And did I forget someone? Maybe I did. I don't know. But anyway, Critical Role is really good. I don't really have too much time to watch them lately because there's so much I want to watch and I just don't have the time, which is a shame. But I really try to. At least I'm kind of in the first third of the second campaign, so I'm kind of into it.
I mean, you're just way too busy doing your own videos and analysis.
Oh, yeah.
Which we super appreciate.
We do. But those are a lot of really good recommendations there, because some of them I've heard of, but haven't necessarily watched. I mean, I have never watched any of the Let's Play videos. The only playthroughs I've ever watched are yours.
Aw, that's nice. I feel special.
Yeah, well, you are. I didn't watch any YouTube videos really until yours. It just wasn't my thing.
Now I feel doubly special.
No, don't, because you've set me off on a bad habit.
Oh boy. Well, I'm a bad influence. You heard it here first. Oh,
Well, yeah,
by the
now
way,
she's not only just watching, she's making.
Yeah, well, yeah.
yeah,
Who'd have thought?
that's true. Following in the footsteps of our dear Overlord. In
Oh,
name
you're
only.
Such an inspiration.
Yeah. By the way, I almost forgot to shout out Alex Morkola for his awesome Final Fantasy cover music and stuff, and remixes. His contributions are really invaluable to if you love the Final Fantasy music and other music as well, but mostly Final Fantasy.
His videos are fascinating and just incredible.
They are.
His passion is amazing.
Oh, for sure. He also has this goal of one time becoming a composer for a Final Fantasy game, which I really appreciate, and I really hope he gets to compose like Final Fantasy VII for example.
Yeah.
It'd be very, very cool.
Yeah. Let's storm Square Enix's headquarters and tell him to employ Alex Morkola for the next Final Fantasy.
I'm down for that.
Yeah.
Start the petition.
Yes.
Yeah. I think a lot of people would be in favour of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And last but not least, some of you might like it, some of you might not, but Kingdom Hearts has also been a big part of my gaming life. I played all of them besides the more obscure ones because I didn't have a DS or 3DS. But there's also the Gamers Joint and Prodigy X CD for Kingdom Hearts content. The first one, the Gamers Joint kinda sorta stopped making content, mostly because of personal reasons, I guess. But in the past, he brought the news, made trailer breakdowns and analyses, really good insight as well, and theory sometimes. And Prodigy X CD is usually also into news, but also breaks down the Ultimanias and the Ultimania interviews and all the obscure details and information you usually won't get. And he also covers the Union Cross and the Union Key and back cover, just the mobile game and browser game editions, which has also really good lore and crucial lore, to be fair. And it's really really a joy to sometimes just know what Kingdom Hearts is doing on the side and get those holes closed. Well, it's hard to close plot holes of or knowledge holes of Kingdom Hearts, but I really try. I try.
I think a lot of people try.
Yeah.
There's a lot to Kingdom Hearts, to be fair.
Too much. But it's fun.
Maybe.
It's interesting.
It is fun. It's a really... the games are just fun.
Yes.
We have spent quite a bit of time with your, like, talking about other content creators and who inspire you, and like Peeps said, really good recommendations. But what would you recommend for your own content? In other words, do you have a video or an analysis that you are particularly proud of? And which one and why?
It's a tough one. Each video has something I'm particularly proud of because I try to like come up with something new or some new detail or some new way of conveying something in each. in each new iteration. Less so in recently because I'm not the editor anymore, but I still try to like post editing a little bit. But the game talk number 1, the only one, the first and last episode so far, with about how to break up the Final Fantasy story into multiple parts, is still one of those I'm most proud of, because it's not really analysis, it's more like trying to rationalize why and how to break it up, like in terms of storytelling, story arcs, also gameplay, start, middle, end, and progression as well. And it took me a long time, and it's also 45 minutes long. And yeah, I think it's my first Final Fantasy VII work, and I'm pretty proud of it. What I don't like is the music that happened to be too loud. This is the main criticism I got for this one. But what I also am particularly proud of is mapping out of Mako storage interior. I think it was game analysis 7 or 8? No, 8 I think it was, if I'm not mistaken. 9 is the battle system breakdown, and 7 and 8 are intro and bombing mission, I think. And just from those individual scenes and shots and going through frame by frame, I found out where we enter and how we actually descend, going over all those pathways and walkways all the way down to the Mako pump. And in the end, I turned out to be correct. Almost 100%. This was crazy. Other people really liked how I calculated the elevator speed and the train speed, but for my personally, it was just for fun.
Wow, I can't imagine doing that for fun.
I know. Wait! I see. I can see how fast the lights go by. Let's just calculate how fast it is, just for fun, to spice it up a little bit.
It's definitely interesting, but like, oh my gosh, like I feel like it's just so in depth. So
it is.
That's another level, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But what I'm also pretty proud of is finding the item. Not really a shop, but the item hut in Wall Market. In those few scenes we got in, let me think, theme song trailer, if I remember correctly. And there's just for a few frames you see this green item sign in the background. And I turned out correct as well. And speaking of item shop, in Sector 7, in the TGS 2019 trailer, there was also already the item shop visible with this weird, strange symbol up top. I don't really know how to describe it. It's kind of like part of a @ symbol, like kind of the start of a spiral, but more like triangular with spikes on it. A really weird, strange symbol that doesn't make any sense. But the original render had it just on top of the entrance, and this one had it as well. And just right next to it, there's the same tower of signs with some Japanese kanji on it, which was also in the original. And I also found this out. And I also found out where 7th Heaven was located when Cloud exits his hotel room. And there were so many cool little findings I was also pretty proud of. So in general, it's not really certain individual episodes, but more like individual findings.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Also, what I kind of need to mention is this almost 1.5 hour long analysis about the battle system, even before we really knew how it worked. Like the PSX 2015 trailer showed a little bit, was the first iteration, which got completely overhauled. But there, and in the 2 screenshots 2 years later, there were so many details and so much to analyze, to see, and the UI and what changed, and how the inputs worked, and the timing and everything. I just went so much overboard with the details. It was almost driving me insane.
I distinctively remember like when you were analyzing Barrett's like bullet count, and like you like had on the screen like all of the addition for each of the like little amounts of damage I did, I distinctively have that picture in my head forever.
That is actually the second battle system analysis I did. The first one was, I think, Game Analysis 3, and the one that you're referring to is Game Analysis number 9, which took footage of the E3 presentation, like the gameplay presentation. And yeah, we have had no idea how it really worked. We got a glimpse of how it basically worked, but I really wanted to dig into it and try to find out all the little details how this battle system would play out. And I thought, well, there are so many numbers. Let's just find out who is stronger and the amount of hits and the combos and stuff. And then, yeah, I happened to just throw a bunch of numbers at you guys.
That's true dedication.
Yes. I'm just crazy when it comes to such details. I'm just a completionist and a perfectionist. I can't help it.
If you weren't, we wouldn't have you here right now, would we?
That's true.
We've talked about your origins. We've talked about what got you into doing what you're doing now. And we've talked about the present and your influences and how you feel about the community and so on. But what do you see for the future of your channel?
Oh boy, the future channel. How do you see yourself in 2 years, 5 years, and 10 years? I have no freaking idea.
I told you the only interviews I've ever done before
Yeah.
are for job interviews.
Yeah, it shows,
So
but it's fine.
What makes
it's
what
important.
makes you qualified for this position?
Bust out the SWOT analysis.
Oh boy. No, but seriously, it's kind of both. I don't have concrete plans, but I have some like short-term plans or short-term ideas to just keep moving forward. I'm not someone with a big end goal. I just like what I'm doing. I keep on doing it as long as I have an audience that loves my content, that gives me the motivation to also keep doing it, that I know I'm doing it for the others as well, not just for myself. And this has turned out to be just the best way to keep going. But right now, as it stands, what I really like to expand upon kind of is more collaborations. The first collaboration kind of is with Kairosis and the Reunion podcast. It's not really a collaboration, but more like a side activity, if you want to call it that. For me at least. For him, it's the only activity in the fandom, really. But other than that, I appeared on Schrödinger's Baby Seals Team 7, I think he calls it.
Yep, that's right.
Yep. And I really, really like this 4-hour-long in-depth discussion and back and forth about all the mysteries of Final Fantasy VII Remake and Integrate. And
that was an absolutely fantastic.
it was so
event.
fun. It was really fun. Even though I had troubles
4 hours
multitasking.
sounds like a...
Pardon?
Oh, sorry, I was going to say 4 hours sounds like a lot of time, but when you're watching it, it goes by really fast.
It
so
does.
Definitely check it out.
Yes. And I really want to do more collaborations. Let's interact more with not just the community on Discord or what have you, but also with content creator directly, like collaborations of all kinds. And you might see more of that. There are a few things in the works, also on the Reunion podcast side, with some future guests, hopefully. So yeah,
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Yeah, exciting stuff.
Yeah. And maybe something will happen on April 10th.
Ooh.
That's all I'm going to say about this. And
Yeah, this episode probably won't be out by then.
well, not on the Reunion podcast side, but somewhere else on April 10th. Please be excited.
I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And what I'm also very excited for is more Pulse of the Livestream content. More of this, more
Yay.
news, more in-depth information, and what's going on in the community, and what's going on with other creators, and more interviews like this one, hopefully.
Well,
More
let's hope
Professor
so.
Peeps.
Yes.
Oh, Professor Peeps is retired.
No.
No.
We'll bring her back.
Yes.
Well, for the right price, she'll do anything.
Okay.
Well, you just need to have the right summon materia.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would work. Yeah. Well, certainly from our perspective, and you know, I don't presume to speak for my co-host Kuta, but this is a great opportunity for us. We're having a lot of fun with it. A lot of fun.
I noticed.
Absolutely.
I'm also having a lot of fun right now.
Good. Good.
I also, at this point, want to thank you to so much for even starting this. It started with your collaboration for my birthday with the community event, which I still have no words for. It's just so great, so amazing. By the way, you asked me then, how would I, or in which word, or in how would I describe this feeling, this event, this happening in one word back then, and I couldn't answer.
Yeah.
And I think I kind of had the answer there, but I didn't want to say it then because I needed to think about it more. But I think it's just cloud. And you can make of it whatever you want. Well, I know what, but I just want to let you guys guessing. Maybe the answer will come in the future.
That's quite an interesting response.
I like it.
Yeah.
Clearly, it's a reference to, you know, some of the winners of the CCO awards. Clearly, couldn't be anything else.
Maybe.
or maybe he's just fluffy and full of water.
There we go.
Maybe, yeah. Well, we're human beings. We have to go to the toilet sometimes. So
That's exactly the
this
feeling
is
that we wanted
taking
you
a
to get
turn.
from your birthday.
yeah, this is CCO. Sometimes it's just derailed like that.
Well, you know, you're absolutely welcome, and it was just a fantastic experience for everyone. I think it's been great to see that, you know, a couple of months down the line and people are still talking about it. People are still laughing about the things that happened and referencing back to it. Yeah.
That's a big motivator for why we wanted to start the PotL the live stream. So I am very grateful that
and
we
the
got
fact
to do it.
that we have awesome chemistry.
True.
Awesome
Very
chemistry.
good team.
Legendary chemistry.
No.
No, seriously, I'm so grateful for you guys to contribute to this community and the channel, and I really hope this goes somewhere. Maybe you two will be even more famous than my humble me. Maybe, I don't know.
Oh, we're gonna Overlord the Overlord?
Yeah.
No.
I don't think
no.
so. No.
Just wait until you have Nomura-san on this show.
Well, then you'll be a part of the interview squad with that one.
Definitely.
But for that, I need to hit the books and learn Japanese.
Yeah, same.
Or learn more that I already know, because my knowledge and skills is pretty in the gutter by now.
Yeah, mine aren't much better. I can ask for a cup of coffee and that's about it.
I was on like a 500-day streak on Duolingo, and then I logged in at like 12:01 and it got rid of my streak.
Oh no.
And I had to, like, they wanted me to pay like $15 to revert it back, and I was like,
Whoa.
I'm like a minute late.
Oh, come
1
on.
minute. Like, no. And then so I deleted the app because I was so
man.
frustrated.
That's... Oh boy.
So
That's
I'll get
sad.
back to it one day, but
It's
Yeah.
not really the best way to learn anyway, so I
Yeah,
don't know that
yeah,
you were
yeah.
losing out on too much.
Watch Game Gengo's videos.
yeah, there we go.
Yeah. It's not the perfect way to learn if you don't know anything. It's still good to learn on the side, like on some app, on some website, or maybe even get to know some people in a community where they want to learn English and you want to learn Japanese. But he is a really great resource to just learn new words, get more into the details. He started with grammar videos and vocabulary videos with actually the proficiency levels N4, N5, and N4 and stuff. So it's really good. He's taking off like a rocket.
That's right, Vyzz.
It is.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Okay, I think we're going to finish off with some lightning round questions. Are you up for that, Vyzz?
Do I have a choice?
No.
See,
There are rules. Brevity is key here. So we're going to ask you something, and we want a one-word answer.
Rapid fire.
Can you do it?
Can there be a short sentence explanation to the one-word answer, or do we use that
depends
for
on how you
afterwards?
define a one-word, a short sentence.
Well,
One word is a sentence.
well, we'll see.
We'll see.
All right, you ready?
Yes.
All right, favorite materia.
Materia or type of materia?
Let's do both.
So, type of materia, support, because of the combinations and strategies. Favorite materia. Now you're putting me on a spot here.
Yep.
That's the whole point of a lightning round.
First reaction.
Bahamut.
I think we broke him.
That's a good one.
Favorite sword.
Probably the Apocalypse from the original.
Cool.
What about from remake?
You guys probably won't like the answer, but it's the Iron Blade.
Oh, interesting.
If you want
Interesting.
to know more, you can ask, but it's a one-word answer.
That's true. All right. Let's say, should we move on or should we ask Peeps? What do you think?
No, I think we should encourage people to ask in the comments.
Yes, do
Hey, that's great. That's brilliant.
Thanks. I'll try.
that. Professor Peeps strikes again.
That's right, Peeps. All right. On to the next. Favorite enemy?
Emerald weapon.
Favorite colour of chocobo.
If I can choose any color, it's the Vyzz bluish purple.
Good choice.
Final Fantasy VII is black. For function, it's gold.
Of course. Yeah. All right. You have to pick one. Moogle, Tonberry, or Cactar?
Tonberry, no questions
wait.
asked.
That captured the essence of a lightning round question and answer. Thank you.
I can if I want to.
Favorite Final Fantasy besides 7?
Tie between 8 and 10.
Okay.
Don't hate me for that.
I have comments, but it's a lightning round, so I can't say anything. All right. Final one. Remake Part 2. Release your prediction.
2023.
Okay.
Okay.
Hopefully. Fingers
Yes.
crossed.
Yep.
Awesome.
That
Well,
was
we
a
did it.
fantastic interview. Yeah.
Yeah, went
Thank
pretty
you.
nicely.
Yeah, thank you very much, Vyzz, for agreeing to do this and to be our first victim.
No.
What have I gotten myself into here?
We can't call them victims. What?
Subjects?
Plans?
No, seriously, thank you very much for being our first guest. You were the most logical choice, the best choice for us to interview first.
Why,
Truly.
thank you. Was a pleasure. Was a pleasure, and also an honor to be chosen as first. Kind of like the trial run for actual, real interviews that matter.
No.
Not at all. You matter. You matter.
That's
I think
a little
it's. I think your audience would like to know a little bit more about you.
fair point.
We're just the intermediaries in this.
Yep. You're the support materia.
Yeah, there you go. That's why we're your favorite.
Yeah, exactly.
Materia broken.
Oh no. Awesome. Well, yeah, like Peep said, thank you for being here. It was an honor, and we're so glad to have this as part of the channel as our first interview. Yay, exciting.
Yeah, it was exciting to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any final words of wisdom or anything for your fans?
Look forward to future polls of the Livestream videos. Look forward to much more in-depth videos from yours truly. There are a lot in the works. Another rough analysis or more like addendum to a previous analysis coming soon. And please keep up on Twitter for more analysis gems and some other stuff, interestingly. And if you aren't on our Discord server, please join the conversation. It's just so much fun in there. There are serious discussions about the game and other stuff, but also so much fun discussions. It's really great community. I can't thank you enough for being this great. That's why I'm also hanging around all the time. It's just fun.
It is a lot of fun.
Yep.
And it's a great place to ask Vyzz if you have any other questions.
For sure. Maybe you get the answer of, that's for another video.
Oh, my favorite line.
Yep. Besides pipes.
All right. Well, like you said, if you haven't already, ring the bell, subscribe now, and leave a comment down below, or join our Discord to continue your conversation with Vyzz or with us. And stay tuned for even more top-tier in-depth analysis videos soon.
Stay safe and take care.
Bye.
Pulse of the Livestream signing off.